Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue Ridge Bonfire, an irreverent show about overlanding and overland gear. I'm CT. I'm joined with.
Rick?
I'm Matt. Now that CT's had 2 or 3 shots of espresso, we're good to go.
All right. So Rick, what are we talking about today?
So as I hope you all know, we build everything right on the other side of this wall. Comes in as raw materials. It gets built in the back. Yeah, it's kind of at an angle.
Yeah.
Most of the builders are sitting in that range. It comes in as raw goods, material on rolls and big old boxes of clips and hardware and all that, and a lot of thread. And it gets shipped out the front of the building to all over the world. We know that a lot of people appreciate that Brog is made right here by folks you can get a hold of.
And the other thing too is it's like fabric comes out of
Yeah.
wide fabric. So quarters come out of Connecticut, Massachusetts.
All our
webbing
webbings like Rhode Island,
No, all our webbing comes out of Alabama.
Alabama. That's right. Yeah.
ITW is our main hardware supplier, which is all U.S. made. YKK zippers,
Yeah.
U.S. made. I mean, not that you don't have some offshore fabric or something in there on occasion, parts that you can't get here easily or something like that. But the majority of the product is actually thread is all U.S. made,
Yeah.
which is there's some effort in sourcing and buying enough material and
Yeah, I was
having
going
a
to
big
say,
enough account
I mean, right after I started here, you were like hunting down snaps because it was funny. You could find the snaps, but just not all the components of the USA made snaps
right.
at one place. So you were buying half here, a quarter here,
Yeah,
and
so
a quarter here.
we're buying 3 parts from a manufacturer that we always use that makes the snap, and then we were going to like eBay and buying the
Yeah.
third part because they had been out for so long.
Yeah.
Which
So-
always makes it for an exciting.
Is to say, a lot of effort goes into the fact that not only is it USA made, but the vast majority USA made materials.
Yeah.
Um,
But what we kind of want to talk about in this episode is we get a lot of comments from people not really understanding what goes into American made, the economics of it, and saying stuff that's maybe rude, but really just often uninformed.
yeah.
And just kind of respond to some of that stuff and use an opportunity to talk about what we do. And
This is why he
mean.
says the PC stuff, because I wouldn't have said rude. I would have said asshole. But
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we always try to handle those,
uneducated jackass, I think is probably where I go on. But
So let's start.
this is why I'm not on as many videos as I used to be.
So I'll try to give a representation of the type of responses that we hear. Rick will help me out with that, and then let's hear some of your response, Matt,
Okay.
and see how that goes. So they say like, "Oh yeah, I love American made. I appreciate everything American made. I buy everything American made." What is that person? What do they really do? And what you actually
They
see?
almost all shop at Walmart.
where
And almost nothing is
Yeah.
American made. That's the thing. A lot of the people that rant about it, that really, we've actually done some dives and gone on Facebook profiles and done a little stalking and been like, oh, are you kidding me? Like everything that you've got is not, I mean, and I'm personally not like, oh gosh, it's got to be made in America, right? Like if I
Yeah.
can or it makes sense, 100% I do. I have 2 or 3 pairs of American made boots, not all of them, because I can't afford to keep all my stuff, my tennis shoes and stuff like that, or my sort of hiking boots, or is a split. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna buy a pair of American made boots, you're gonna drop $300.
oh,
You know,
yeah,
and-
like
and-
Yep,
starting.
easy.
Yeah, and mind you, I've got some of those that are 10 years old now. But just my sort of day in and day out wear, no, I don't, but I've make sure every few years I'm buying something that's US made footwear, honestly. And not intentionally, just because there's something really cool that somebody makes in the US that
Yeah.
I want to support that because I liked it. I've got some Danner stuff that was US built that I was just like, damn, it's a nice boot, and they make it in the US, and I'm totally willing to pay the extra for getting that.
I'm on a quest for some Russells. That's my next.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, that same thing. I'm gonna buy it once and I'm gonna keep it and I'm gonna use the crap out of it. I do that with about everything, but no. I think there's a I understand that there's a lot of good manufacturing all over the world, right? It's just about if you're gonna build it here, and you're gonna serve sort of the smaller niches that are not that are not making stuff that you're going to find in Walmart, right? Like the demand is not so high that you can build 5,000 of them at a whack or import 5,000 of them at a whack, then there's almost no other way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like you've basically got to build the States because short run stuff like that, especially stuff like that, just doesn't exist. And that's what we like, right? Like we like to find the stuff that's short run, unique. It's something that it's different because I hate, for the most part, we've talked about this before, but I just the random copies of somebody else's stuff is not my thing. Like
just because you can.
I just don't enjoy it. Right. We have sewing machines, therefore we can make something. Yeah, but do we want to? Nah. Like I don't want to make t-shirts.
No.
Like that doesn't sound like any fun to me at all. And, God bless the people.
I don't want to make videos about just t-shirts.
Right. I mean, God bless the people that are doing it.
Can I get like a 500 dinar Cordera t-shirt though?
Yeah, we could. We'll totally. No, I'm not doing that.
That's
shit.
going to be some major chafing.
Right.
You're going to chafe so hard.
Yeah.
Pack cloth, maybe a 70 weight. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
We can line it with
I can
fleece.
see it.
X-Pack?
It'll be a drug rug.
Like
We're gonna build
nylon-
you a pack cloth drug rug lined with fleece. That's gonna be.
I'm
I
down.
could do that. I could
Yeah.
see now. I could get behind something like
Because
that.
that does not exist.
Right, nobody's doing that, right?
Yeah.
But, like that's not anything anybody's doing. That would be fun. And then it could be like a blanket. You could use as a blanket.
Yeah.
Especially if you had a couple snaps.
Should
from
we
the
cut
side.
this short?
Man, I've built my winter poncho. Well, the problem is it's kind of a whoopee almost, right?
Yeah.
Oh well, I've already done it. Government already did that. Sorry, guys.
No, and I think you brought up a great point there, Matt. Like, and depending on the industry, and honestly, economics, same thing. I like to ride bikes, and I would love to have a USA made bike, but most of those are wait times, are insane. Good for them. And B, I just don't have the funds for a recreational product laying around like that. But at the same time, some awesome bikes come out of like Taiwan, like the quality and things like that. CT brought up something earlier though, and then Matt touched on it. Yeah, like I think some of my favorite comments, and I do want to say in defense of our like average customer, like a lot of times it's not coming from them. If we run like a promoted post or an ad or something, we get comments on it.
It's reaching, when our content or our products reach somebody who wouldn't normally buy from us and they're like reacting first time. Yeah.
And one of my favorites, and if you're listening, I doubt it, but just to let you know, you live in my mind rent free. We had a guy that commented on a post about our tool bag. It was like $169.99 for a tool bag. Whatever. This dude just went off.
They're out to lunch or whatever.
Yeah. And I have one of our tool pouch rolls that I've had since I've known Matt. And it's still got easily that much time left in it. So
10 years.
Yeah. Like no,
10 years with little wear.
Yeah,
or
20 or 30 years for this thing will be no problem. And I was actually gifted a tool bag with one of the big American tool company names on the side of it. That's essentially made out of Tyvek and held together with hope. But yet it's got this American name on the side. But what cracked me up was I went to this guy's.
Was it actually made in the U.S.?
No.
Okay.
It's
just branded.
Yeah, I do have like I forget the name now. Maybe it's Parrot Canvas in North Carolina. I have one of their like hinge tool bags. Oh, and I mean that thing you could like
well done.
Yeah, drag it down the road.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, like Red Ox does some beautiful stuff, and Atlas does some beautiful stuff too. I'm not like I said, there's a lot of neat companies out there for sure. They're doing cool stuff. I mean, that's my thing. Like, they're just doing something fun.
But I clicked on his profile, and he had his very first post was a very poorly put together meme. I can say that because I put memes together. That said, I missed the America of my childhood, and it was all I could do not to switch to my personal profile because I like to choose violence, and comment on that and said, "Oh, you mean the one where most things were made in America and you bought once and it lasts you the rest of your life? Like that America? Is that the one?"
Right. Yeah, no, right. But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like the number of people that are like, it should be U.S. made, and then they just don't. They don't really pay attention. It's all kind of bullshit talk. And again, I don't care what they buy or where they buy it from. Honestly, I care that you buy something that makes sense for you, and you see value in it. If you don't see value in what we make, that the usability and durability, it does not provide value for you against the cost. Like you shouldn't buy it. Like you 100%.
We're not trying to guilt anybody into buying something that doesn't work.
No, I'll go buy it. I don't even want you as a customer, to be honest with you, because I don't want to disappoint you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to see you're going to use this, you're going to beat it, you're going to just, if my hope is that you're going to just destroy it. And then maybe we even get to replace it in 5 or 7 or 10 years. You know what I mean? Like that's the perfect scenario for me.
Yeah.
So if that's not if that's not who you are, man, fucking shop someplace else. Cause
Yeah.
I don't really, that's not what
For me, this like journey, because I do try to focus on American made or like conscious of where it's made. Started with
conscious,
socks
for sure.
of
Yeah,
all
100%.
things.
Yep.
And
I buy almost all my socks are US made
oh
now,
yeah, no, I think at this point, like if there's any in the door that aren't, but here's the point. I just recently threw some out that predated my marriage. Like they like some darn toughs
Yeah.
that when
Sure.
Brandy and I were dating and she worked at an outfitter, I bought them, and finally I was like, it's time to set these free.
Yeah, I have some farm to feet that
Yeah.
are got some serious age to them that
Yeah,
still
defeat,
are going.
darn tough, 0.6, and farm defeat. That's like
Yeah.
kind of my 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say no. That's I have
Yeah.
very similar.
And the cost per value, people be like, oh, $22, or
Right,
$24, and it's like you don't get it. Like I've got some farm defeat that I wear through the summer.
Yeah.
I wear those once a week
Oh, at least
through the summer.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
probably socks that get washed and cycled twice a week at my house. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that just because they're in a regular wash cycle
Yeah.
and you know, I have whatever 6 sets of clothes. I have 6 pairs of pants. They're gonna get worn every week. You know what I mean? Like everything I own is like that. I have 6 shirts or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know, once a week they go through the laundry one way or another, and until they're destroyed, and then I rotate something else in.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, almost everything I own is like that.
Oh. And then Matt, we had one the other day, and I'm not gonna nearly vilify this customer the way I did the random commenter, but he had some questions about the price of like some of our products, in particular, a smaller pouch versus
Yeah.
a bigger one. So can you break down, because you literally are the expert, like just because it's little doesn't mean will be cheaper than some of our bigger things, like in a purely
what
scale.
contributes to that?
I mean, we're really simple. It's material cost, time, and time of manufacturing. That's what we bill by. There's not really a point at which we go, oh, you know, it's time and materials. That's what our life revolves around. Our life revolves around time and materials, whatever the material cost is and whatever the time to build it is. And the thing is, if you're selling a 12-inch by 12-inch square and versus say a 6-inch by 6-inch square, honestly the handling time, the moving it through the shop, the actually picking it up, getting underneath the sewing machine and going around it, like when you look at that, the difference is maybe 10%. Like you might be 10% faster on the 6, maybe 10% faster on the 6-inch. So you're at 90% of the same manufacturing time if those components are all the same.
Right.
Now you're reduced in material costs, but in the grand scheme of things, material cost is you know, a smaller percentage of what the cost of the product is. And depending on how intricate you get, like the second you add a zipper, like you start adding time, you start adding noticeable amounts of time, minutes or, you know, half minutes, you know, you start adding 30 or 45 seconds to something. Cause by the time you actually sew the fabric into it, you know, into the zipper, then sew the zipper into the piece, then put the zipper pull on, that, you know, then slide the zipper into the zipper itself. Like that whole project is an easy minute 30. So all of a sudden, if that was a flat back panel, it would be 15 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it would get sewn in 15
For example,
seconds.
Now it takes minutes to
Yeah.
put together.
Yeah,
like
now all
a
of a sudden
12 by
it's a
12
2-minute
packing
back
cube
panel.
versus the EDC pouch, like, you know,
Right. Yeah, there's nothing right.
God, you can put 20 EDC pouches inside that packing cube, but it's going to take you way longer to build one of the packing cube, or I'm sorry, one EDC pouch.
Sure.
Than the
Yeah.
packing cube.
Yeah. Because by the time you sew the Velcro down, by the time you put the zipper on the back,
Yeah.
and then you start thinking about, you know, and everything's kind of done on shop rate, and you basically take your labor rate and your cost, you know, your cost to keep the lights on, square footage of the building and all that stuff kind of gets factored into a shop rate, and whatever it is to build it is what it is. So, you know, something that might take you an hour, and you start thinking about now, you know, you go back to this kind of the offshore manufacturing project. You know, if you have, you know, if you're in, you know, let's use China as an example, where the government's basically supplying the building, the government's subsidizing the labor, the government's subsidizing or paying for the power, and that company is just building it. It's like their actual cost to build it, you know, their minute of time. And you know, you think about it versus somebody who works on a car, right? The minute of time versus somebody sewing something and manufacturing it in China, it may be 10 cents.
Yeah.
You know, it may be 5 cents a minute. I mean, like that they're actually out of pocket on it. Where that's not the case with us, right? Because we have our labor rates are way more than that to begin with. Let alone cost of shop, cost of propane, cost of all the things that keep it warm, cool, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then we have paid time off here, and we have health insurance
Right.
that we pay here, and we try to do the things that most small shops don't. Most small shops don't cover paid time off. We have decent paid time off for people, and we do an over 50-50 split on health insurance. Most shops again either don't offer it at all, have people go to the exchange. Most small shops don't do that. So we're trying to do the things that are right by the people that are building it. And the reality is, you start looking at, if we took the labor rate that it costs you to get your car fixed by a mechanic at say $90 to $150 an hour, you would be paying 5-6 times what you're paying now.
Yeah.
It would be crazy. I mean, it would literally be crazy.
That reminds me of a conversation I had back in the fall with Dustin at Wazoo Survival, and some other folks were there, and a lot of their stuff are made in the States, like their belts and their beanies and all that. And he said one of the biggest problems they run into, and I think he said he's even told people this, well, the problem is everybody wants an American-made product, but at a non-American-made price. But if it was their kid that you were hiring, they would be like,
they want them taken care of, right? Like and that's the thing.
You want
and
them to have that good wage and those benefits and those things.
Well, and it's for me, it's like when I look at it, it's like nobody here, and including all the people in this room and in the building, nobody's getting rich here, as far as that goes. But at the same time, you start thinking about, like, what environment would I want my kids to work in? And my kids have worked here, right? I mean, on and off over the years. My oldest daughter is flipped and finished here for a number of years, and done the crap that like nobody really likes to do.
She's still really fast at it.
Yeah, she's really fast.
I'm not a huge fan when she comes and helps if I'm flipping. Like,
she's showing you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like I panic.
Yeah, my youngest daughter actually will clean and do bathroom, clean the bathroom and do the stuff that nobody wants to do, or nobody.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, Sam was in here and like detailed all the machine, like dusting all the machines.
Yeah, we'll come out and clean stuff. Yeah, and I I want a place that at least if you're working here, whether the wage is what you wish you had or not, the environment is good enough that you don't hate yourself, right? So that there's some flexibility on time. There's some flexibility on days off. I mean, if your kid's out, your kid's out playing soccer, I don't want you to miss every soccer game. I mean, because you got to go to work, and we'll work the schedule out to make that go. But in order to do that and manufacture, and like it's really a fight. I mean, it's legitimately a tough gig.
Yeah.
And it would be easy to pick, honestly, it would be easy to go through and pick your top, or top 10 products, ditch the other 90%, send them offshore, make them for a whack less money. Matter of fact, we could just put up shelving and hire 2 shipping people and
do away with everybody.
And do away with everybody else. Like, we could cut our labor,
let's be
pool
honest,
by a quarter and probably make a lot more money. Jeez, somebody write that down. Why? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to name any names, but
kidding.
like you just said, like kind of the bailout policy of several companies. I mean, ones that we've talked about in the overlanding realm, Matt and I are backpack nerds in the backpack world.
Yeah.
Like, they finally get tired of fighting the fight you were talking about, and they're like, oh man, let's just do 80% of this overseas.
Yeah.
And then we'll build a few things here so we can still, kind of
Yep.
when we need to throw that flag up and wave,
we're running against contract, or we're doing some kind of government contract work where it has to be. We've still got the facility in place, but you can't. I mean, that's some of our problem too. It's hard where we have trouble finding enough people to expand fast enough to be able to keep up with demand and stuff like that, and hire people. And the other thing is, we like to employ people from where we are. We're we're kind of in the sticks in Virginia or in the hills, and giving people like I said, a decent place to work where they can show up and not hate themselves is important to me. And I think we've done a reasonably good job of that, and hopefully we continue to do a good job of that. And assuming the business continues to grow like it has been, we'll do more.
So, one other thing our sentiment we sometimes hear from people is this feeling that us or other American manufacturers were just riding the American-made, name, just that word. We're just riding on it being American made and we're not even trying to innovate and something. And I don't think that you see it that way at
no,
all.
I
So
mean,
why don't you
I
speak to
think,
that?
yeah, I think you go back to the same thing. If we don't make something that makes sense for you, you shouldn't buy it, and you shouldn't buy it just because we built it in America. I've always said that. That should be an irrelevant. I don't want to say an irrelevant part of the decision, but honestly, it should, for the most part, be an irrelevant part of the decision. If we do not make something that you find value in, that makes sense, that does a job you need,
Yeah.
and that the longevity of it and what it does is not there for you, you shouldn't buy it. I don't care where it's made, you shouldn't buy it because you're just wasting your money and you're wasting resources and you're doing shit to the environment you shouldn't be doing. Whether that's our environment or China's environment or anybody. I mean, the amount of shit that you buy that just gets fucking thrown away because it's crap is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm I'm wearing, I think I got a Dickie shirt on. I will wear this Dickie shirt until there's nothing left of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for the next 4 or 5 years, I will wear this thing till there's nothing left. And because I do that with just about everything,
I have the life cycle of pants. It's like, church and nice dinner. And then they go into like maybe just,
general work.
Through the week pants,
Yeah.
And there's even like a scale in there. And then it's like, these will be put on after work when I need to change the belt on the tractor. And then they sometimes become shorts if there's like significant damage below the knee. Yeah. The de-evolution. Yeah, the de-evolution of pants.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing that, I mean, that's where we come from, right? So we come from, or I come from a place of, I want to be able to buy well, use it hard. I can break an anvil, like I know that, like I just destroy stuff. I break things regularly. It's just who I am. I'm hard on shit. I'm hard on machinery. I'm hard on tools. I'm just hard on shit. And I know that. So, the goal is to buy stuff well that I can be hard on, and it will take it, and we can keep going.
And along those lines, and something you said before, like you have to make a product worth what you're charging.
Yeah. No,
if it's made in America or not.
Right.
Well, and
if you're out of whack on that, people won't buy it.
Yeah.
They'll just go to their, they'll go to Walmart and buy something else.
Yeah, they'll go to Lowe's and get a tool bag.
Yeah.
I mean, if go to Lowe's and get a tool bag, it for what I do, it doesn't make sense because I can't organize enough stuff. I can't put enough stuff in it for the number of tools that I'm going to carry. And I carry a lot of weird tools. I carry hydraulic hose wrenches and shit like that most people wouldn't even carry because it's like it's in the back of my truck. A tractor goes down or a piece of equipment goes down. I'm gonna grab that bag and I know where all that stuff is and I don't have to go looking or find that bag or whatever. So I mean, it's like for me it works out really well because I have a lot of different things. I carry a lot of electrical supplies. I carry a lot of oddball tools in there. It weighs probably 30 pounds.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it rides around in the back of my truck underneath the seat 24/7 because I use it all the time. And that's the customer I want, right? Like if what you're getting from the Harbor Freight makes sense, go ahead. I own a Harbor Freight hole puncher or something, I think. That because
just
I'm going to use it
don't
twice.
buy their jack stands, man. I think at this point we've all decided that that's
a bad idea.
Bad plan.
I've never bought anything that my life depends on it from Harbor Freight.
They had to recall them, and then they recalled the ones they recalled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
think they make the kind of money it would take for me to crawl under a vehicle on Harbor Freight jack stands.
I don't know. Again, that's not something
I would be like
bought.
2x4s and cinder blocking it with those laying like right there beside. I'd be like, no, it's fine. Stack these up. Sorry, CT. One more thing. Now, CT said we're not going to like talk, like this is just all about us, but I did want to throw something in at the end of Matt's there. Back in the fall, some of you might remember we launched the tote bag, which was kind of different, the Brog tote bag for us. And there was an internal conversation, and somebody I don't think they meant anything bad, was like, this will be better than 50% of the tote bags out there. And one of the things that impressed me, like Matt's philosophy, is like, well, then let's not make it. Like, this needs to be better than 99% of the tote bags out there.
It needs to be,
100%.
Yeah. No, there's no anything that somebody else is doing well, I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I very rarely do I look at something and go, oh, we need to go make that. Like it just doesn't, because there's no point in it. It's not cool. It's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't get any enjoyment from it. I don't get any enjoyment from copying stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to promote things you're not passionate about too.
Well, and it's just like we want the art, right? Or I want the art. I want it to be art. I want it to be, it's about craftsmanship, right? And then it's about art. Those are the two things that I enjoy. Those are two things in my life I enjoy about everything. And I don't care if that's hanging cabinets or making cabinets or building a table or making a first aid kit bag, right? Or making a first aid bag. That's all the same for me, right? Like it's about how good a craftsman am I? If I take this thing and I take it inside out, or I look at the parts that you can't see, and when they're put together, do they look as good as it does when it's finished? That's important to me, right? Like I want the inside parts that nobody ever sees or doesn't even know what to look for or can't even get to them because they're 3-stitch layers in. I want them to be as good as the part that is visible to the world, right?
Yeah.
And you should turn bags inside out, right? Like if I go to the store and look at something, that's the first thing I do, man. Like I'll crawl inside bags. Like if I see a new backpack that I like, I'm like in there, trying to figure out how they did the seam, why they do this, why they put the zipper in like that. How did they do that? Does that make sense? Do I think that's going to hold up? Like I'll just darn near tear them apart, trying to figure out whether, yeah, I think that works and that might work and this would work for me. Okay, yeah, all right, then I'll end up owning it, but I think that's the kicker is like the craftsperson, like whatever you build is a representation of the craftsperson, right? So the person that's at the machine building it, who's at the table saw, who's at the lathe, who's at the milling machine, whatever it is, right? Who's welding it together, that piece is a representation of you. And it should be important to you to represent yourself and the company you work for well. That's a big deal for me, right? Like I want it to be built right, even on the inside and the parts where you can't see.
Yeah.
And then from then there has to be enough art in it that it's unique, that it's intellectually stimulating, and you're like, oh, if we did this, or we put that, we worked on that project with Rodney, which was all kinds of fun this weekend. Rodney Dusen family, Overland Medic is working on some first aid kit stuff. You should check out his site. He's like, we've played with a bunch of stuff with him for some small first aid. His Instagram, Overland Medic, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Check out that because he's working on some really neat stuff that was a lot of fun that we were able to sit down and like stumbled into ideas that we didn't even know, like nobody had thought about that just happened to be there.
And that's what I like. Like everything we needed was here in the shop, but we never thought to kind of put the pieces together that way.
Right. And even when we put his together, like we started putting them together for him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if we omitted this seam, that becomes a pouch here, and you can add this. And like it never crossed my mind until we were building it with him.
Yeah.
And then we sat down and he's like, oh, it needs to do this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, but it accidentally does this too.
Yeah.
And that was a huge amount of fun, to kind of get through those pieces with him and kind of get to something that's, I think, is unique.
Yeah.
And I don't know that many people are doing what he's trying to do there. And it was fun for us to kind of build it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's, so like I said, if it's, first it's got to be, the craftsmanship has got to be there, and it's got to be what you expect or what you want out of it. And then the other thing is there's got to be some art. There's got to be some art to it.
Yeah. And not just for us to be interested in it, but for people to want to buy it, too. We have to be innovative and we have to keep chasing things. Yeah. Once something does become popular enough, it starts getting ripped off on Amazon really fast, actually. Like they, and so
we used to make we used to make legitimately a really nice water bottle pouch for 40-ounce
Hydro Flask.
Hydro Flask.
Yeah.
Hydro Flask.
That was pre-Yeti, yeah.
Yeah, before Yeti. When Hydro Flask was brand new, we started making them, sold them all the time on Amazon. And there was a point at which we got to a certain level, like a certain placing on Amazon, which apparently was way higher than I would have ever thought, because we were making them all the time. And then all of a sudden it was like we had all kinds of reviews, and the next day, like there was a knockoff of it, and they had 4,000 reviews. Yeah. We had been building it for a year straight, shipped all kinds of them, maybe had 30 reviews, and the next thing I know, the knockoff that looks a lot like ours has got 4,000 reviews, and it's not 3 days old, and we never came up in search again.
Yeah.
Yep.
For that. And it was it's mind-boggling that how quickly it gets ripped off, which, I mean, we know that's going to happen, right? That's part of the game. Like, you just stay ahead. The goal is to stay 6 months ahead. If you make something cool, somebody's going to steal it in the next 6 months. So as long as you can keep staying 6 months ahead and keep coming up with new ideas, fuck them, is my normal motto. But and then like I said, the jacked up thing is there's 9,000 reviews on a product that hasn't even shipped yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what's mind-boggling to me. I'm
No,
like, wow, you guys are really good at this. Like
that's the
you've got
Yeah.
air reviewed. Like you've got a box en route reviewed. Like that's super impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the system, where people are like, oh, I don't buy anything unless it has a bunch of reviews. Robot reviews count because
Right.
there's a lot of those,
Yeah, man. I mean, the stuff AI can do now, it's just really impressive.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, people get rid of you. I like putting up some of our crazy ones.
Oh yeah.
Some of the angry people that are like,
Yeah.
Hey, we had a guy tell us a product that's not even one of our favorite products we make, but you know why we keep making it? Because people keep asking for it. He called it the worst thing he'd ever purchased, and I was like, man, you've never got diarrhea from fast food. Because I would put that way higher than anything this thing could have done to me. Like, yeah.
You've never eaten at the wrong Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I can tell you the worst thing I've ever purchased, and it was a General Tso's chicken, and I went back, but yeah.
It's dedication to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cause.
But it was painful.
I purchased that, and then physical violence occurred directly in relation to the
Purchase.
$7.99 that I spent.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that'd be like me paying CT to kick me in the stomach for 12 hours. Like,
And then going back and saying, "Can I have another piece of chicken, please?"
yeah. Yeah, worst thing you'd ever purchased. I was like, wow.
That's next level. Yeah.
Our definition of bad might not be
Yeah,
might not be the
he's
same.
lived a gentle life.
That's right. He's just been soft.
Or better yet, what did this addict do to you? Like,
Did it
What?
strangle you in your sleep?
yeah. Give me a call, man.
Right.
Before you ship it back, is it possessed?
Right.
Do we need an exorcism on the box before we
Right. That's
unpack
right.
it? Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, we do occasionally get those, and
Yeah.
we leave the bad ones up to. We normally respond to them, so
Yeah.
if you get bored, you can always read our responses because some of those are pretty funny.
Yeah.
Review responses.
And too, I think it's all about POV. We've hit that point on other podcasts, but something that's been really impressing me is we did a co-branded, collaborative branded bum bag with Carry Commission now,
Yeah.
and there's quite a few of them out there. And I've noticed, and this may just be like the customer base, the market, whatever you want to call it, the EDC crowd. Tons of them are like, holy cow, it's $40 right at for an American-made lifetime warranty fanny pack / kind of EDC pouch. That's crazy cheap,
Right.
Because
Yeah.
and you could show it to somebody else and we're like, wait, $40 for a bum bag, for a fanny pack, that's crazy. In the other way, but
it's a different market because they're used to these more boutique, smaller outfits that
Yeah,
charge
yeah.
a little bit more,
And
more often.
and they're
made.
used to buying high end stuff. They're
Yeah, yeah.
used to buying, they're not used to buying the, like I said, the sort of Walmart or Target version of what that is, if there's a Walmart or Target version of it. And again, and if it's somebody that's going to use it, then that becomes important.
And it makes sense to them.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's no different than tools, right? Like I have a pneumatic 1/4-inch hole punch or 1/8-inch hole punch that I use for sheet metal, right? To weld sheet metal stuff together. So if I'm going to tack some kind of sheet metal onto something, it gets used almost never, right? It's one of those tools that's like,
But
when I need it, I want to be able to use it.
yeah,
And I bought the cheapest one I could buy because it's a, 3 times a decade probably I go punch some 1/8 in holes and cover something with some tack welds. But my welder is a whole nother project. My welder gets used on a fairly regular basis, and I need it to turn on every single time. If this one doesn't happen to work, I'll get mad and drill some holes in it, and it'll be fine.
yeah.
But I want my welder to turn on and work every single time. I'm going to buy as good a welder as I can afford.
Right.
And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
It's like the stuff that you're going to use and you're going to put to work. You need to buy what makes sense or what makes sense to you.
No, I mean, and kind of going back to like the value per use.
Yeah, life cycles, man.
To share with our users a funny story. The other day, I was trying to move the Ethernet line in my house. And did you know if you get too close to an Ethernet line with a drill bit, it will cut that thing like it's its job? So needless to say, it was way easier to get through the hole once we cut the end off. And I had like 15 minutes to get to Lowe's, and I ran in and I grabbed the cheapest, kit that had
Right.
the crimper, the ends, and all that. And I went back home and I put an end on it after I ran it through the new hole.
Yeah.
And then I stuck that stuff in the toolbox. Like, I hope it'll be a long time before I need that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now Like
if you were running Ethernet cable all the time,
I would not have bought
you
the
wouldn't have done that.
$12.99
Yeah,
kit.
yeah. No, and I think that's the way most gear, most stuff should be thought about. You
Yeah.
know, or spend them on the stuff that you're using hard. You should
Like,
put the money to it.
And if you're
Stuff you know to count on.
if you don't travel as far from civilization, maybe you don't need as reliable a gear as if you're
Hey, if
going
you
to
don't
be
have a-
days
if
and
you
days
don't-
away from
If you don't have a car,
civilization.
don't buy anything. Well, no, that's okay. We have a couple things. but-
yeah, you tote bag because you have to carry a
tote
lot
bag,
of stuff.
right. Yeah, you need a tote
EDC
bag.
stuff.
Don't
Yeah,
buy
yeah.
ever stuff for vehicles. But I mean, I think a lot of our stuff lends itself so many places that it's not just travelers, right? Like I mean, again, I use my stuff way more day in and day out than I do.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Than I do when I'm actually out in the woods.
first
Like,
aid kit, tool kit. I mean, like my tire kit that is from us
Yeah.
gets used by more people more than I ever have.
Right,
Like
but at the same
yeah.
time, right? That's a high use piece and
Yeah.
and a constant carry piece. Yep.
My recent story is my air pump in my car. It finally died. Finally, it was the one I got from Lowe's that I never really liked, and I had it for years and years, and it had all these problems and all this kind of stuff. But I was like, it hasn't died yet.
Yeah.
Has it really died?
It's my daily driver. Like if a tire completely blows out, I'll put on the spare. So it's not really it inflates bike tires in my car occasionally. Like it's not that critical, but I don't love it. Anyway, it finally died, and I was like, okay, phew, I can actually
I can actually
can get the Vi-Air pump.
Now I can
Yeah.
get the one I want.
And I
right?
actually like it. But it wasn't that like super mission critical
Yeah.
piece of equipment.
That's
like
what I
you
love
said.
about
Yeah.
what I love about Chris Shantz. Chris Shantz drives around with a 1947 Engel fridge.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 1972 model Engel. It's not even. Sorry, it's an ARB branded Engel fridge.
And no one can identify it because there's approximately an 1/8 inch of stickers all the way around it.
Right. No, that's true. Right. But
Yeah.
it is like a 35 quart or a 45 quart ARB, old Engel ARB that they've been around for literally probably 30 years now.
Yeah.
Or maybe more than that. I don't know. But that one is old, right? And I know lots of people have tried to give Chris new fridges, like been anything to get a fridge in the back of Chris's truck. Now he probably has a new one now because I haven't been paying attention lately. But
Yeah.
Chris has always been like, no, it works.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of what you want, right? That's what I want from customers. That's what I want from people.
Yeah.
Is this one works? I don't need to. I'll upgrade when it makes sense.
Not so much CT, I don't think, but you and I are also notorious resellers. Like,
That is true.
swing by the house, bring a truck, and we'll make some deals. Like,
Right.
I'm that way with camera gear.
Yeah,
No,
that's
true.
Yeah.
You do
And so
stuff
for
on
me,
it.
like, I'm willing to have a higher buy-in because that stuff has better resale
Yeah,
value.
no, 100%.
you know?
That's true. No, 100%.
Yeah.
We talk about that all the time. Even with the kids, I talk about that all the time. You're way better off buy the good one because it's
I was
still
confused. I was
It'll
like, wait,
hold out. Yeah, like
I don't think you can talk about selling your
Yeah,
kids
good-
on the
good-
podcast.
No. But no,
good
but
equipment will really hold its value.
yeah, I mean it does, right? Like I mean, let's go back to welders, right? Like I've got welders that are 4 and 5 years old. They're still worth 67% of what I paid
Yeah,
for
yeah.
them. And actually, the way inflation's gone, they're probably worth as much as I paid for them now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like that if you're buying it smart, it's
those better
your
brands, they
loss
have
on it is
spare-
not that high.
They've got spare parts and they've got
Yeah.
support and repair programs, and so then
Yeah,
that all
warranty
helps with resale value
Yeah.
because because it is repairable and it's not that one-off disposable unit.
Yeah, I have a John Deere tractor that my dad bought new in 1978
Nice.
that is now worth way more than what.
Oh, yeah,
he
I was
paid
gonna
for
say.
it, right? I mean, but I mean, it was again back then it was a really expensive tractor. I mean, it's a lawnmower, not
Yeah.
lawn and garden tractor. It's a 216, I think. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's we still mow with it.
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean,
Wait,
you
said from bought in 60 something?
No, 1978.
Still.
Yeah, it's 6 years newer than me.
Wait,
Right? I mean, like
Yeah.
that's
over
the math
40
I do. I'm like,
years.
I
No,
know.
no
yeah.
grass with that thing.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't
Holy
mowed with it
crap.
last. I mean, we have obviously newer mowers, but I mean, I like
No,
literally
yeah.
3 years ago, I absolutely mowed with it and could go out and mow with it today. Like, there's no.
Mm.
I mean, I don't because it's a little nostalgic now, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
Don't
No,
want
I had
it
a
to get
Statesman
damaged.
from my dad that when we moved and we didn't bring it up here because it was our yard's way larger. Sent it back, gave it back to him, and he still mows with it, and it's like a 90. It's like it's got 30 odd years on it now. Yeah.
well, but that going back to that's the America of your youth, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you think about like the 70s, John Deere is the America of my youth. Well, the John Deere makes a lawnmower. Not you can't buy it at Lowe's or you can't buy it at Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
But John Deere makes a lawnmower in that caliber that is a 30-year piece of equipment. You have to
Yeah.
buy it from the John Deere dealer.
Yeah.
And you got to buy the good one. But I mean, those things exist. You just have to be willing to get there. You know, you just have to be willing to see the value in it, or you have to see the value in it to make it work. And I think that's what people miss. It's like I miss I miss the America of my youth because of, because things were made better, things were whatever. Well, those things still exist. They just, you just have to pay for them. And then you have to be willing to not, because people, lawnmowers are disposable, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you buy a 10 horse, I was going to say Sears, but that doesn't exist anymore. Craftsman,
Yeah.
Craftsman lawnmower
Yeah,
still
yeah.
exists, I guess. you buy a
Everything-
10 or
everything
15
MDT,
horse.
just
Yeah,
for
well,
MT,
whatever.
whatever
Yeah,
it is.
everything's made by MDT. That's correct.
Yeah.
Is it MDT?
It's no,
No, that's
what something yard
MTD? MTD.
okay.
machine. Yeah.
Anyway, they're all
Yeah.
made by the same company, basically.
Yeah.
Like sunglasses.
Yeah, like sunglasses. And, you figure it's a 5-6 year piece of
Yeah.
equipment, maybe 10 if you're gentle on it and you're not really mowing that much. At my house, it'd be 2 because we'd mow the bejesus out of shit.
Yeah.
And it'd be falling
We
in
mow a
ditches.
lot, yeah, we
Yeah.
mow a lot of
Roots and
stuff,
rocks
man.
and-
We mow rifle ranges, we mow the yard, we mow hills, we mow banks, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean,
But it's the same thing. You
Yeah.
could absolutely go buy the Deer, or you could go buy a high-end Cub Cadet, or you
Mhm.
could go, and you could totally do that. We just don't. And in 70, those options were substantially less.
Hmm.
You start thinking about at that point, you just didn't have as many of the low-end options. You didn't have the disposable options that existed. So I don't think the America's gone. I think it's the fact that we've had so much more cheap junk come in
yeah.
that we've just become accustomed to that. And then we see everything else as overpriced.
And going back to POV, there's people if they buy their mower, okay, we're going to summer 2023, and in summer of 2027 they get it out, for this time of year, and it won't start, and it's just totally whatever, shot, and let's go get a new one.
Right, yeah.
Their little push mower. But like me, the Kubota that you were there when I got it,
Right.
back in the fall, I hope I'm using that thing in like 2040. Like,
right, yeah. 100%,
you know.
you should be.
yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
no, I mean, that's, buy a nice piece of equipment, buy it well.
yeah,
Buy a little bigger than you need.
yeah.
Tractors for sure. I've missed that every time. Every time I buy one.
Yeah,
within
but
2 years, I'm like, I should have bought a big one.
Matt has like a Russian nesting doll situation going on with tractors now. Like I don't know what order they evolved in, but it's from like a riding mower up to like highway crew. Like,
Yeah, I see you. You
and
always got a
everything in
bigger
between.
one, going by. I was like, you had another one show up on the hill one day that had the cutter on the arm,
yeah, the swing
on the
arm.
bat sticking out.
No, that one's great. I'm excited about that one. I got that one last year.
Yeah.
That one's 30
Have you
years
played
old
around with it yet?
5,000. Oh yeah, I use it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I use it all. We
yeah.
moved hay with it all year and did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like personally, because I mentioned earlier, like Russell boots, that's something I want next phone down. But like for me, and we talked about being a backpack geek. Like, I have some nice backpacks, and it's usually a rotating cast because I don't hold on to anything. But I don't just use it for like throwing stuff from the car to the from the house to the car to the shop every day. Like I'm in a cave, I'm in the woods, like, it gets thrown in a kayak, like,
Yeah.
wow.
It sits in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I remember going on a caving trip in Alabama with a triplet design pack and literally crawling on my belly for 30 minutes and it scraping against the roof, and getting out and it's like sand, stone ground into it.
Yeah.
And, you think, oh, it's shot. No, I like took it home.
Yeah.
Once it was dry, I dusted it off, then hosed it down,
Yep.
and it was fine.
Yeah.
Like never a loose stitch, nothing. Yeah.
But I think that's what people miss. Like it's that stuff exists. They just
Yeah.
we get. I think for so long we've been sort of there's been so much cheap junk brought in that it's really easy to just throw it away and buy another one, throw it away and buy another one, throw it away and buy another one, as opposed to buy the right one once and run the bejesus out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and again, going back to your tractor scenario, right? Like that, I just bought a John Deere last year. That's an 85 horsepower. It is a 2001 model, so it's 21 years old with 5,000 hours on it, and it's not free. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you still had to pony up some cash to buy that. Like
Yeah.
it didn't, going back to holding its value and stuff being worth something. Used stuff obviously is not worth as much as new, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like I paid well over half probably what it
Yeah.
was new, maybe more than that.
And the
So,
guy
I mean,
before you definitely got his use out of it.
yeah.
Like,
So I mean, you start thinking about a 20-year run on a piece of equipment that's got 5,000 hours is a fair bit for a tractor. I would consider it. This one's got 4,800. It's a little over midlife, right? So if your 8,000 is sort of working to the end of the life of a tractor,
yeah.
10,000 is you've really done something, and 12 is holy shit, I can't believe it's still going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of my math
Good to know.
on tractors, at least bigger tractors. But I mean, like, somebody ran that tractor for 20 years, worked 50% of its life off, and it was still worth over 50% of its new value. And I mean,
you look
at
at a
that point,
car or something.
right? Yeah, there's so many things that you buy that doesn't, but if you buy the right one, I mean, Land Cruisers.
Yeah.
You can buy Land Cruisers. You can buy a used Land Cruiser.
I mean, like, let's use your 100 series just because you're going to know the numbers.
God.
Did you guys get that new or used?
No, I bought it used.
Okay.
It had 30,000 miles on it, and it was a year, 2 years old.
Yeah, it's an
7.
07. Okay.
It's a 7.
Yeah. So 07, you bought it with 30.
Yeah.
What percentage of its new price did you buy it for then? Like, give or take.
Probably 70.
Okay.
75.
Now here in 2023 with how many miles?
Close to 300.
Yeah. What do you think you could sell that thing for now? Like,
that one's been whipped pretty hard. My wife
with
is
some
rough
spit
on
shine. Yeah.
It's hard. So it's hard
it
to
does
find
Land
one.
Cruiser shit every day.
No, it does. It does. It is.
Drives all around the property.
That was bought and put to work like a Land Cruiser should be put to work. That thing has not been a pavement princess. Holy crap. Yeah, it's been high centered recently. Even like God bless it.
Oh, I mean, we were over there. What? It was your dad's birthday, and Liv's like, gotta go get this lamb, and like took off in the Land Cruiser, to get this lamb that had been born, and,
middle of the pasture, lamb gets thrown in the back of it. Drug home. Like I said, so that if you really cleaned it, I mean, there's very few 100 series Land Cruisers, especially later models.
Look at the
5,
product
6,
listing.
7
Land Cruiser lightly lambed.
that are worth less than 10.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you can get 10 for that thing with a weekend of cleanup and,
Yeah, it's hard to find them worth less than 10, 11, 12, something in that range. So that's, that's probably a little less than half had we taken care of it and not whipped the bejesus out of it and put 250,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
In that time.
Yeah, but still, like, we'll just call it like 40 something percent. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for us is like if that thing rolls over and dies tomorrow, it never has to leave. Like, I feel good about that buy every day.
Yeah, there'll be a service, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to stay there in effigy. We're just going to leave it there. And
plant some sunflowers.
Right. This is what a vehicle should do for you.
Yeah.
This is what one should be able to manage. Holy crap!
We'll park it at the entrance and put a plaque in front of it.
Yeah. Great, toughest vehicle ever made.
Well used, well loved.
Yeah, because it'll haul a 16-foot trailer with 30 sheep in it. You know what I mean? Like, not down the road, like through the weeds. Be through the woods, up gravel roads.
Yeah.
Like that truck's done of its 200 and whatever 80,000 miles. It probably has 80,000 of them in the dirt.
I'd like to know just how many were in your field.
You know what I mean? Right. I mean, there's a mile each way every time you leave the house, so there's that. But it's just vehicles like I've got a Dodge truck the same way. I've got an 06 Dodge truck that we've just used it. Going wood. She keeps waking up every day, and we were hauling horses with it this weekend.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, like we talked about, the value. It's all POV based, like for somebody that drives their vehicle once a week, that like none of this is a factor.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of our thoughts, and we don't begrudge the people. I mean, the guy that like complained about the price of the bag and then immediately had posted, "I miss the America of my youth." I don't begrudge him. I just have a lot of questions, like, "What are you thinking?" But we get it. It's not for everybody. So
100%.
Not every use case. Yeah.
No, for sure. If somebody doesn't find value, they're just not our customer, and I'm really okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't make sense for you, man, you just It's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, if you don't get it, I'm not.
I just don't want you to buy from somebody that pretends they're something they're not. Now that
There's a lot of that out there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of like the number of things that I run into where people will be like, oh, they'll say something about, oh, where's that made? Oh, I think it's made in the States. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Dude, you bought it for $12. Like, there's you can't turn the
Not
machine on for
legally.
$12,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, right.
They've got somebody chained in a storage unit if that was made in the States. Like,
Right. There's the number of times that I run into that where I'm like, oh, I think they're building them in. I'm like, no, they're not. They may have a headquarters in. They may have a designer in.
Yeah,
That's
I was
my
gonna
favorite.
say-
My favorite is designed in the United States.
Yeah.
Designed in the beautiful downtown, whatever, Southern California, and then it's like, but it's made overseas.
Yeah.
and then
like,
we email the file and to so the other side of the world, and then they make 1 million of them. Like,
right. Yeah. No, I mean, and God bless them for not using Chinese designers. I don't really think that exists. I don't know. Maybe
Oh, they do. I mean, they have to because they knock off stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, but they don't design anything. That's the key.
True,
I mean,
yeah.
like when you start looking at most offshore manufacturing, they are brilliant. You give them one, and they will make that
Yeah,
one.
reverse it. I actually have heard some
But
really funny.
for you to hand them this thing and go, hey, make me something that does this, this, and this, and like you don't come up with anything.
So two things. One, I want to say I don't begrudge. That's a word I'm using more today than I woke up and thought I would.
Yeah.
I don't even begrudge like
good word.
the Chinese people. It's like, the way things are set up there. Like most of that money is not getting to the people's hands. Like nobody working in a factory making bags in China is getting rich. Like, but somebody is. And two, funny story about that kind of thing. Going back to Wazoo, their Firestar necklaces, they actually had somebody get a hold of their drawings and send them to one of those places to have them made. But they didn't get the version of the notes about the thickness of the ceramic. So they got like all of these back that were like paper thin. And it was
broke.
Technically it was correct because they got the 2D drawing. But yeah, they just didn't do the right thickness. So they like ripped it off and it was totally non-functioning. Yeah. But it was that same thing. Like somebody got a hold of their drawings in confidence and then like turned around and, hoodooed them and sent it to China. I was like, hey, make these for me. And the guy was like, all right, we made it, They didn't have the complete drawings, and
Right, not enough information. Yeah, no, I don't. Good on them for making a living. I'm not trying to. I just, just a lot of times it doesn't make sense for me, and sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes a Harbor Freight tool makes sense for me, and most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Tecton. That's
Yeah.
been my recent Michigan made.
Oh,
Michigan Tool Company.
no.
It's been my recent go-to for buying tools.
Yeah.
U.S. made tools. They
I really want to.
if you want neat stuff, they do no skips. That's been their selling point for me. Not that but like if you buy a set of Allen wrenches or you buy a set of wrenches, you'll go to, you'll go buy some and there'll be a 10 mil, a 12, a 13, 14, whatever, there'll be 8 in a set that actually covers, 15 millimeters in that set of 8. In Tecton, there is a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, 11, a 12, a 13. Like there is not a skip in any of them, which is really handy. I mean, honestly, if you're and they're honestly pretty affordable, pretty nice tools, well made. I've been pleased with them, and they warranty them.
I have to check that out. Chapman Manufacturing is my next. Is the tool company that I'm kind of geeked up on right now. American-made bit sets. They do some really cool, like, small ratchets and drivers and stuff like that. And they come in, like, different sets, and it's like, the technician, the hobbyist, like that kind of thing.
Huh.
But they've been making, like, screwdrivers and stuff for a really long time. But, yeah, Chapman Manufacturing.
I'll have to check that out.
While we're swapping.
Yeah, while we're swapping tool companies. Yeah, that's good. And there's some European tool companies that make some nice stuff too. Some screwdriver companies I just ooze over. Like, oh God.
Yeah.
I really like.
If you don't think there's a difference between a good screwdriver and a cheap screwdriver, you have not destroyed enough screws.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, just good tools in general are impressive. Anyway, not that we're talking about tools. We digress. We didn't get to food though, so
No, we did at the beginning. We talked about
that's coffee. That's drinking. That's not food.
Yeah, come on now. That's technicality.
Yeah. No, that's.
I have to have this to live. I don't have to eat.
That's legal drugs, man.
Yeah.
It's legal drug.
Yeah.
Legalize. Yeah.
He's actually right. I was gonna say I don't have to eat to live, but I have to have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally
try to get your food from the States if you can. On that note,
let me tell you, that's even more difficult than you think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, trying to buy regionally is
Yeah.
That is tough. Not that, I mean, we buy all our protein regionally, but most of it because it comes from the backyard.
Yeah.
Or neighbor's backyard.
That's one thing I always appreciate about Ingalls. We used to live like half a mile from an Ingalls, and they
Yeah.
would literally have signs up like, "This is from farm XYZ in wherever, North Carolina,"
Yeah.
And most of them are in that area. So,
Yeah, we just ate at a place in Roanoke who was like, it says on there Southern Hills, but Southern
Yeah.
Hills is a packing house and a butcher shop and processor in Lynchburg.
Yeah.
And it actually was like,
That's cool.
all everything Southern Hills meat, blah blah blah. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of.
We saw Benton's Bacon on a menu in Roanoke recently, which was kind of funny because in Knoxville it's everywhere because it's not far.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, getting some Benton's up here. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right though. I mean, all that stuff is stuff you should pay attention to if you can, or if it matters to you.
Yeah.
I don't wonder where my Cheez-Its are made because I've been eating a lot of Cheez-Its lately. I
Heaven.
need to figure that out.
Probably domestically, I would think. Most food tends to be made in
China and shipped over here.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Food? I don't think they do. I feel like most
self-stable.
food production is in the States.
I
not
think you
that
need
kind
to
of thing.
do some
Not that kind of thing?
do some heavy looking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some is.
Yeah.
There's a lot that is. I'm not saying, but like a shit ton of your produce isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, almost.
Oh,
all.
yeah.
I mean, all your fresh produce, is
It's
been
all
on
from Chile and Argentina and stuff.
yeah, wherever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the shelf stable tomatoes and didn't exist, 20, 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you couldn't ship a tomato across the world,
Yeah.
and now you can ship tomatoes across.
You were
the
lucky
world
to get
because
them a couple of states.
right?
Like,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you destroy them.
Yeah.
You would destroy them really quickly, and
But it's the things you don't expect. Like I was shocked to learn that like Murfreesboro, Tennessee has a huge Yoplait factory, like massive. I think it's
Yeah.
Yoplait. Like it's one of the yogurt companies. I mean, a lot of yogurt comes out of there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
No, there's like I said, it's just stuff you should at least look at and pay attention to. I think
yeah.
makes some sense to be aware of, and aware of the stuff that you thought was where you thought you knew where it was made, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's
easy to get duped.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you liked it, give us a like, leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you're on. And if you want to reach out to us, leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
I think Bonfire at blueridgeoverlandgear.com still comes forwards to one of the emails that I check, so you can
Yeah.
so you
can leave an email, drop an email to bonfire at
Yeah.
blueridgeoverlandgear.com, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.